Patrick deCourcey is the head of markets for the Asia-Pacific region in SWIFT, the Global Payments Cooperative. Thank you very much for talking to us today. Patrick, you look after a very diverse market space. You have China on the one hand, you've got India, and you've got Southeast Asia, and you look after them on all fronts, on the banking, the securities, the transaction infrastructure, and so on. Let's just touch each of these areas one by one. China. What is it about China and its engagement with SWIFT that is still outstanding in order for SWIFT to become better engaged at the domestic level in China?
Yeah, as you say, in China, we have excellent engagements with our bank customers in China.
That's when they go international.
And that is to support the cross-border business.
Okay.
Whether it is in securities or in payments or trade finance. We have more than 100 bank customers in China, and the volumes are increasing significantly. The biggest challenge, I think, in China is that, obviously, given the sheer scale of China, and the need to modernize payment systems and security settlement systems, China can do it by itself. There is no value added in terms of economies of scale, for example, that SWIFT can bring to the table. The thing to remember, I think, and we're getting increasing traction in China around that, is that China, despite its sheer size, is not an island. And it is important for several reasons that China looks at adopting global standards also in its domestic space. For several reasons. First of all, it will make cross-border transactions more efficient and cheaper. It will allow banks in China also to be more efficient as they expand overseas and as they support their own customers' expansion overseas. And it would make it also better for regional or global bank to have a footprint in China as well. So in the end, everybody benefits. And we've been having, I think, successes there, especially in the field of standards, where the People's Bank, for example, has adopted as a policy to use ISO 20022 standards in the evolution of their payment systems.
It's a very good thing to know that that the PBOC is committed to ISO 20022. But that does not necessarily mean that they're going to give SWIFT greater domestic access. In fact, the similarity between China and India in this regard, and the large countries, is there's always this desire to build the domestic infrastructure themselves. Mm-hmm. Of course, as long as the standards are interoperable, it doesn't create a problem. But it does, in a way, limit the reach of SWIFT to second and third tier institutions in the country.
I have to agree. Whether it is true or not, SWIFT is still very much perceived as a European and North American driven organization. I believe that is changing. I believe that has changed already. But still the perception is there, and perception is reality. One of our biggest challenges that now we've recognized and we actually have solutions to it is how to be much more flexible in the way we deliver services, looking at governance as well, on how to be able to bring the best of a global utility with the scale that implies and the efficiency that implies, together with a degree of control over the technology and over the governance that's required to have a significant presence in large, growing domestic markets outside of Europe and North America. Mm. And the challenge that level is the same whether we talk about Brazil, India, or China.
ASEAN and Asia generally is seeing greater inter-regional trade, inter-regional interaction in a sense. Is there a need, you think, for SWIFT to become also specifically focused on the inter-regional activity that's taking place?
Yeah, very much so. In our statistics, we see stronger growth of transactions within the regions than the growth we have from and to Asia, to Europe and the Americas and Africa. The solutions we can bring, which are built around standards and efficiency and low risk through automation, work just as well within the region as they would from the region to other regions. What is probably more challenging in Asia, I think, is we haven't really seen it yet, but I would say we can expect, I think, new breeds of competitors because of the lower cost base that there is in the region, because of the availability of talent, because of different dynamics around innovation. So I think looking longer term, there are probably new breeds of competitors that can appear in the region, and a challenge, I think, for us and for also many other companies that have a historical base in Europe or North America, is to become much more Asian and part of the fabric to be able to compete with.
And how does SWIFT set about becoming more Asian? What does that mean?
What does that mean? That means more resources in the region, more global functions in the region. It means, and that will happen as the growth in Asia is stronger than the growth in the rest of the world. More presence in the governance of the company, and beyond all of that, it's almost a mindset change that many companies have to go through. The future is in this part of the world, and this part of the world requires the investments and the attention of the company as a whole. And I'm not sure everybody in SWIFT would agree with what I'm saying, but I think it's these are challenges that many other companies operating in the region will recognize.